find yourself, look, your questions are straightforward. They're allocated. But if at some point you feel your colleague didn't give all the information and maybe you have something additional to say, you can always, step in and say, to add to that, or, or what is the other one? Or maybe my colleague is best vested to answer that particular question.
Okay.
Yeah, it's basically a conversation. 20% of your focus has to be in either camera 3 or 2,
Okay.
mostly camera 2. The rest of the 80% you share it around your environment.
The link.
Philemon wants the link. Breathe. There goes the link. Clear the throat before we start. The other one.
You're very faint. You are very faint.
At least you don't have to hold the mic. Do you want to hold the mic? Sorry. Guys, are you breathing?
Good afternoon, Namibia and the world, and welcome to yet another session here at the Government Information Center. I am your host for this afternoon, and my name is Desire Kahiha. And the topic for today, we're looking at National Cybersecurity Awareness Creation. And in the studio, I have three panelists here that will be assisting us in answering the necessary questions and giving us guidelines on how it is that we should protect ourselves. We have Ms. Vanessa Maresh. She is the Empowerment Specialist with South Essential IT. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
We also have Mr. Philemon Johannes, who is the Committee Chairperson for the National Cybersecurity Strategy and Awareness Raising Plan. Good afternoon. And he's a representative from the Ministry of Information and Communication Technology. Good afternoon, Mr. Johannes.
Good afternoon, and thank you for having me.
We also have Ms. Grace Kashivena, and she is an empowerment specialist support, and she is also from Salt Essential IT. Good afternoon, Ms. Kashivena.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for having me.
National Cybersecurity Strategy and Awareness Raising Plan aims to safeguard the national critical information infrastructure, educate and create awareness while continuously improving the safety of vulnerable groups in the cyberspace. But before we get to the nitty-gritties of that, we would like to hear from Ms. Maresh basically what is cybercrime and cybersecurity. Can you please define these for us?
Of course. Cybercrime is any criminal activity that occurs in cyberspace. So basically in the digital world, where we have our day-to-day common crimes being committed in the physical world. They are known to us. We're aware of them. Cybercrimes are a little bit more obscure because internet usage is a bit more recent than the age-old other crimes. So that's basically cybercrime, crimes committed on the internet or in cyberspace. Cybersecurity is basically defense mechanisms against those crimes. So it's things like software and hardware, protecting our devices, our identities, our data, our computers. All of that is seen cumulatively as cybersecurity.
Okay. Well put. Direct yet very important to note and be informed about, because as the world moves into where a lot of our operations are done in the spaces, it is where our vulnerability is picked up from those who have sinister agendas against people, and scammers become very wise in these areas. But Mr. Johannes, can you briefly tell us about the Cybersecurity Strategy and Awareness Plan? This strategy's theme is a step towards cyber resilience and digital security. What necessitated this theme?
Thank you very much. The theme was thought of as the art that's added to the book that we decided to write. That's the strategy. A strategy is practically an action plan of what we intend to do as far as cybersecurity is concerned in the absence of the laws or regulatory frameworks relating to cybersecurity. Now, the art that we added is actually just the catch. So what is that enticing on that book that we try to write is a baby step towards cybersecurity resilience. So hence our term, our slogan on it. But then eventually it's also to just tell the nation to say, despite not having what we were supposed to have in terms of legislations, we as a country or as government, we started doing something. So, and that's what we are trying to bring across as a message. Thank you.
Okay. The activities that are carried out under this plan and the initiatives that are, being brought forth to try and create this awareness, to try and educate people, these are, from my understanding, striving from an MOU between the various stakeholders and more so being driven by SALT Essential IT as well as the Ministry of Information. Am I correct on that?
Correct, yes.
Yeah. And with that, we would like to hear, just a general overview or, a word from the Deputy Minister in the Ministry of Information and Communication Technology, that is Honorable Emma Theophilus, and what she had to say.
With the evolution of information communication technologies, Namibia as a developing country is no exception to cyber attacks and cybercrime. The growing cyber attacks jeopardize the purpose of digital participation and connectivity, as well as the integrity of Namibia's critical infrastructure. The Namibian government seeks to build a cyber-resilient nation. Hence, in line with Cabinet endorsement, the Ministry of Information Communication Technology developed the National Cybersecurity Strategy and Awareness Raising Plan. The purpose of the awareness creation is to empower the nation's citizens with the knowledge and skills to make informed decisions when faced with potential cybercriminal activities, whether in general or at the workplace. The national document is a step towards building cybersecurity resilience and digital security to enable an innovative Namibia and attainment of social and economic growth. With this plan, the nation is prepared to respond effectively to the threats or attacks on network systems and services. Namibia will reap benefits and economic opportunities presented by the use of ICTs on the condition that the country's citizens are ready, capable, and vigilant against the threats that include phishing attacks, ransomware, cyberbullying, and child online vulnerability. The National Cybersecurity Strategy and Awareness-Raising Plan helps to safeguard the citizens' privacy, educate and create awareness to safeguard the national critical information infrastructure, as well as ensure collaboration on cybersecurity to continuously improve the safety of vulnerable groups in the cyberspace. The scourge of cybercrime has the potential to negatively impact the nation's ability to achieve its developmental objectives. Namibia has encountered a rise in incidents of misuse of available internet platforms by criminals to carry out cyber attacks. These growing cyber threats disturb the purpose of digital participation and connectivity, as well as the integrity of our national critical information infrastructure. It is for these reasons that the Ministry of Information and Communication Technology, in collaboration with South Essential Information Technology, is hosting a series of awareness creation sessions for the Namibian nation. I therefore urge you all to join the Ministry and South Essential's efforts to participate in these sessions in order to be equipped with the necessary skills in order to be safe on the internet, protect our nation's critical infrastructure, and make informed decisions should you fall victim or help those who fall victims to cyber attacks.
Well said there by the Deputy Minister. But Ms. Kashivena, what are the most common types of attack vectors in cybersecurity, and which sector or sectors are mostly targeted in Namibia?
The most common types of attacks or vectors are ransomware. And ransomware is something, it's a sort of like an antivirus whereby the attacker or the criminal holds you by a ransom. So they either install a certain software, they hold your files or information, and once you give them a ransom, that's when they will release it. So another one is phishing. Phishing is a tactic in which the criminal sends you either a text message or email or WhatsApp, Vanessa, if you can just add on that.
Yes, like you said, phishing is probably ranked the highest, or it's the most popular method of attack, because it comes to us in forms that we know, in forms like emails and SMSs and those things, and it also comes to us from authorities that we know. So it's sent from. And I'm qualifying this saying it's not sent from the bank. The bank does not send it to you. It has been cloned or duplicated or mimicking an email or other piece of communication coming from the bank. So that's very, very dangerous, because email is a very popular communication method, and even is SMS and WhatsApp and so on. So it's coming in at us, and it's very difficult if you don't know what to look out for to determine, is this a real message or not. You get a lot of them. I always tell people that we can go into definitions and study what is a virus, what is a Trojan, what is a worm. But for us normal people living normal lives, it's not as important to understand or be able to explain all of the different types of attacks and threats. It's more important for us to know how to respond to them and to understand what the warning signals are so that we can react appropriately and not jeopardize our own or our family or even our businesses' security. So yes, we can list here for you. Virus, I think, is probably one of the better known ones. It's because viruses are almost probably 20 years old now. So that's the same as you get a virus in your body. If your computer picks up a virus, it gets sick. It's a disease and it can even kill you. So it can destroy your computer or your laptop. I think one of the most critical ones that we should be aware of, one of the most dangerous ones, is focusing around your identity. Because if we allow attackers to commit crimes like identity theft or fraud, it really starts to touch us personally, and it can cause a lot of harm to our family and our co-workers and our friends.
Very true. You want to add something, Ms.
Just to
Kashmir?
add to the second part of your question, who are the most targeted? Sadly, the most targeted are the SMB, usually because they don't have enough funds or they're not prepared. They're not prepared enough for this type of attack. So those are the most attacked.
Okay.
Maybe just to also add,
Yes.
other targets include where the value for the efforts are. That would be the banks, would be the wealthier people, will be the people of interest, be it government officials, be it a certain individual that holds critical information that would either give business or perhaps get the identity and be able to perform some transactions for the gain of the specific hacker. So those are the most targeted.
Yeah, and no one is immune as well.
Oh, no, definitely. I was about to say that, actually, because of recent days, we've really been hearing about even your high-profile people, people that you would think would never fall victim to these. And, we've had these examples with our own MPs being victims of this, with even neighboring country MPs being victims to this. I mean, looking at more familiar environment, let alone the global, persons of high, stature that have come out and said, look, I've been a victim of these type of crimes. Now, staying with the types and so on, I would then like Ms. Maresh to give us examples of common threats and vulnerabilities to citizens on the internet space.
All right, so that's an interesting question, because one would expect the answer to be also, again, naming the different kinds of threats, when actually the biggest threat to our cybersecurity is ourselves, because it requires a reaction from us as an individual to allow the threat into our lives.
Okay.
So it's if we have the appropriate antivirus software, anti-malware software, and we've done all the things we're supposed to do in terms of keeping our software updated, keeping our identity protected with things like multi-factor authentication. If we've done all of those things, then we have allowed the experts and the professional and the vendors to create a safe space for us.
Exactly.
However, that being said, the greatest threat here is still us, the individuals, and that's why we always say we are the last line of defense, because it's you that clicks on the link. It's you that downloads the malicious software. That all comes down to you. And that's why this initiative is so very important, because this initiative looks at specifically the people component. So you can have the best hardware and software protecting you and updated. The criminals are working 24/7. They don't take breaks. There's a lot of money here. I think, and I mean, it could have changed. The last figure was in the trillions of US dollars that cybercrime will be generating in 2022. It is now the 15th most profitable industry in the world. It has overtaken, it's making more money than all the drug crimes to
Yeah,
put together.
yeah.
So it's extremely profitable for the criminals, and it's because they're exploiting human nature. They are using things that our reactions, our emotions, the way that we usually react, they are using those things, and that's how they get into our systems. So even if we have the best antivirus, and we've got BitLocker and all the fantastic things installed and set up, they're consistently working to find new ways to get into your accounts, to get your personal information, so that they can then go and access your bank account, steal your money, send you a fake PIN. So most of these things we can avoid by attending cybersecurity awareness training and knowing what signs what are the warning signs, what to look out for. And it's also not just a matter of knowing the latest, greatest scams, rather understanding, again, because these criminals are human. The reason it's become such a big industry is because anyone now, it's not the hacker with a hoodie anymore. It can be a sound engineer that knows how to smartly cut voice messages into pieces so that you think it's your husband sending you a voice message asking you for an e-wallet, for example. Exactly. So it's I would say more normal people that can now capitalize and generate profits from these crimes because they have access to the software. Like Grace was talking about ransomware. So now you can go and buy that software off the dark web or wherever. You can go and buy it, and all you need to do is you need to understand people. You need to understand what they put on social media. You need to understand how people react. When you get that email that says you've won $1 million, oh wow, oh happiness. I'm just going to click that button. I'm just going to do it because it's $1 million. Now, those are some of the oldest scams, but the idea here is that if you really want to protect yourself, the scams will change names and faces. The actual malicious software, the malware and the viruses and the things that cause the actual damage will change, but you can protect yourself by understanding your human nature, understanding yourself and your reactions, and knowing what warning signs to look out for, and using that to protect your identity and your data.
And I think I like the way that you put it earlier on, that drives the severity of the situation home. I mean, for the longest time, we've known illicit drug market to be one of the really most lucrative. But now we're looking at cyber crimes being, on the ball game here as well. And if you look, if you stay aware and take the initiative to educate yourself, pardon me, you will understand that even these criminals with regards to illicit drug to the illicit drug market are now actually also using
I'm quite sure they are.
Cybercrime.
They've changed industries.
They're changing industry, and they're trying to even use the cybercrime, platforms to actually do their business as well. And I mean, as you're saying, it comes in different forms. It's not your normal hoodie situation. You have things where you've got deep fakes coming up, and they're being created by your 16-year-old sitting with a laptop somewhere in their dark bedroom while their mother is making food downstairs. It's quite scary, and I like the fact that you also said it's a human factor. These people are humans, so they're tapping into that human factor of yours. I have a question though, and this is a concern. Through research, various readings and so on, cookies are a concern. Cookies are concerned because they have been identified as some of the ways through which, these scammers can get to a person. Now, how do I then identify which ones are safe? Because I've also come to realize that a lot of websites are using cookies. I don't know whether it's for financial what do you call it? It's buffering.
Yeah, it's for marketing and also for the end user experience, so that it remembers your credentials, so that who you are. You don't have to go and put it in every time, and then that information can also be used for marketing purposes. So to position adverts based on your preferences, so that obviously the advertising agency is not a criminal agency, but they do also use that information for marketing purposes.
But then how do I protect myself? Because it seems like almost every website that you go through, you know, it's using cookies, you have to accept this or you can't access the information. But it seems to leave you vulnerable in a way. How do I identify as a person, how do I then protect myself with every cookie that I accept?
Yes, thank you. If I may, with cookies, they are safe if you accept them for that session.
Okay.
And also, ethically, the hosts of websites or the providers of certain services on the internet, they enable them so they also learn your browsing behaviors, what you like. If you are a farmer, for example, anything related to farming, next time you come, it will just pop up and say, Kenya new hydroponic, for example, technology, and then they know you are a farmer. You always browse about farming, but then to be safe from the ethical cookies that simply want your browsing history for marketing, but not your credential when you access protected sites, you can always go to the settings.
Okay.
And then there is a setting for cookies, and then you can always disable, or otherwise you can put it on clear cookies on exit of your browser. Every time you close your browser, then all the cookies will be cleared as well. So that's also one of the strategies to protect yourself from letting these credentials laying around. Maybe one thing that you should do also is to disable remember passwords when you're browsing, because at certain sites you will be required to create an account, so you log in to access privately, coded content. So then you could disable that feature of remember password, or never for this site, or never remember password. So that way you are protected. But then the cookies are not so bad, but they are also a loophole through which the hackers can get us.
Okay. Ms. Kashivena, we are hearing about credentials and we are hearing about your profile and so on. What is personal information, and how is it at risk to have personal information on the public domain?
Yes, personal information is any information that can be used to identify you or locate you in any way by those criminals. When your personal information is out there in the public domain, it can be used for things like identity theft, stalking, or harassment, or like Vanessa said, other people can impersonate you and things like that.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay. Staying on public domains, Ms. Maresh, mention some common public domain platforms where cyber criminals can get your personal information.
Okay, so that's very tricky, and I mean, personal information is a hot topic, but the risk of having personal information made available in the public domain, it's not a risk in itself, although it is and it isn't. It's a risk because it can be used with things like doxing to build up a profile and impersonate you and things like that. But the major risk behind leaving personal or having personal information on the public domain is when you actually use it in your cybersecurity. When you put on Facebook, you put the name and pictures of your dogs and your cats and your kids and their happy birthdays, and then what the smart criminals go and do, they get the software to run hundreds of thousands of combinations of that personal information until they crack your password.
Wow.
So the personal information being there is not really the problem, it's that you use it in your password, so it comes again back to you. It's okay for it to be there, and there are also caution. I mean, we live in a world where we cannot survive without technology. We can't progress as a society, as a nation, if we don't embrace technology. So we cannot be afraid of using it. We need to know how to use it. I mean, from a marketing point of view, if your company is not on social media platforms and your employees are not there spreading the gospel of whatever your company's name is, you will not do as well as you would have if you were there.
Yeah.
Because 80% of the buying decision is made from a customer point of view before they pick up the phone or send an email by doing research online. You Google everything. If you want to have a new sneakers, where's the best price in Windhoek to get it? If I want to get the best photographer, and that's the good thing about the search engines like the Googles and so on, they do give you access to that information, and they've got wonderful things like Google reviews, so you can do a lot of your research before you make the buying decision. But, you know, it comes to a point where we have to then make sure that it's used for the good and not for the bad. So risky spaces in the public domain, I mean, there are many, all social media platforms, but again, it's what you put there. I always tell people, you wouldn't go out and walk in a dark alley with a super short skirt on and a tank top. Why would you go flashing your privates on social media?
Exactly.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
So we must just be aware of how it's used. And then obviously, if you're giving people clues and you're posting on Facebook that you're going away for the weekend, again, it comes back to me as an individual. Am I accepting any friend that comes across my path just because I want to have 2,000 friends? Do I know what my following is? Type of things like that. Because it's not dangerous putting it there. It's dangerous who sees it there and what they can do with it. Because if they see it and they can use it, then they can use it to harm you. If you have got a properly set up social media account with just the people you know and you want seeing your things, it's fine to tell them you're going on holiday, you're going wherever, to Barbados. Then it's okay. But again, it comes back to awareness, knowing about it. Most people don't know the risks that they are, and really just because it hasn't happened to you yet doesn't mean it's not going to happen to you. At some point in time, and I can believe that everybody on Facebook at some point in time have been hacked or cloned or impersonated. So it's not a matter of, when it will happen. It's going to happen. So that's why it's very key now for us to have this discussion and to have people attend the training sessions so that we can empower our people to use the wonders of technology without paying a painful price.
Exactly. And you spoke there of how, these criminals are using the cyberspace to actually harm people in the physical space. I mean, sometime this year or earlier, it became or started growing as a trend where influencers became victims because of what they put on their public domain, where they are, how much money they earn, the type of jewelry they wear, and all of these things. So honestly, it's a serious thing that we need to start taking really to its seriousness. This is a conversation, as we always say, and you're very much welcome to ask any questions that you have, and we pose these to the panelists in the studio. Or you can also just give us a few comments if you have any. As I say, this is a platform where we educate each other. You can find us on our Facebook platform. We are live streaming from there, and our handle there is Ministry of Information and Communication Technology, Republic of Namibia. Ministry of Information and Communication Technology, Republic of Namibia. You can find us on our YouTube platform as well, and our handle is MICT Namibia, MICT Namibia. You can give us a call as well in the studio. Our call line 061 is the area code. The number is 400397, 400397. While we wait for you to join our conversation, I would continue here, and I want to find out from Mr. Johannes, what preventative and cyber resilience mechanisms would you recommend to internet users?
Thank you very much, Madam Moderator, for the question. Preventative measures that the cyber or the net designs can have it's to always be aware of the scammers. That's one. They are always there. They are always working 24/7. They eat, sleep, and work. So, and then if then they don't get us, our excited friends on our WhatsApp groups would always want to forward us some links, join group what, and so always avoid clicking these unverified links from whichever platform you get, be it on your email, be it if it comes as an MMS on your cell phone. You might claim not to have a smartphone, but then remember these Tamagotchis also receive multimedia messages. So if it comes as a text on those Tamagotchi, you can still click it and takes you somewhere. Or it can download the malware that should affect or perhaps take the information that's needed by the hackers. Then when it comes to platforms where we use passwords or we have access credentials, it's best we always build the strongest and longer passwords. In most cases, the best password is not the one that's a one word, is one where you can create a phrase in your password. Say, like you have nice names in Osherero, you could use all 3 or 4. So, or use a phrase rather. Other strategy to remain resilient is to adopt the culture of multi-factor authentication. There are authentication applications or multi-factor applications that you can download into your smartphone to always either generate a code that assists you log into your platforms. If you have, you can create a key on this authenticator for each platform. Say on Facebook, you have a key for Facebook. For Twitter, you have another key, and then every time you are logging into Twitter, for example, you generate a password for that specific session. Thirdly, it's just to realize that on the internet space, there is now business for those that are, working every day around the clock to make money from it. As Vanessa has mentioned, is a multi-billion dollar business now as we speak. Hence, we need to know somebody is also out there working while we're at work. If you work in a bank, you need to be careful. Somebody is also trying to work from wherever to get access to banking platforms so they can either transact or steal money from people's account. If it's your family, you might be a favorite nephew or niece of a rich uncle. What you post on the platform, they get to realize that, okay, this one is Mr. Joanne's favorite niece, so they might have a lot of information, perhaps sometimes even get access or use his computer. Let's use their platform and see at which computer they logged in at the time. Perhaps it might be that uncle's computer and they can transact if the accounts are found open. Learn to log off from every platform. We are very lazy to remember passwords or to every time try to log into your platforms, be it at work. Just put it on automatic. When I come, I don't have to enter my password again. But yes, but let's adopt that strategy of saying, when I leave my computer, I log off from the computer, from the email platform, from the financial system I work with, from anything that gives access to, any information or transacting platforms. Thank you.
As we said, you can ask your questions, you can give us your comments on our social media platforms. I think when it comes to the Government Information Center, it is one of those platforms that honestly allows us to put the information out there to educate the public, but at the same time, receive information that could just as well assist those panelists that are busy with these different sectors to actually know what is the reality, what are some of the things that are being experienced by us on the ground, so that they can add to whatever plans that they have to try and, improve on different mechanisms, as well as also their educative booklets and plans and so on. And remember, you can call us in the studio. Our call line is 061, that's the area code. The number is 400397. Ms. Kashivena, what advice can you give to the general public as tips to remain resilient while on the internet?
Firstly, I would like to say always be alert. Always, always be alert. And secondly, avoid using public Wi-Fi because this is usually the hacker's playing field, and a lot of information can put out there, but just by using public Wi-Fi. Secondly, actually create strong passwords like Philemon said, and always manage your settings. Whether it is your Facebook, all your social media platforms, whether it's your email, always manage your settings. And if you have kids using the internet or you have kids using your devices, also make sure you restrict them from certain things or the settings, or create settings, settings that will not be able to let them be vulnerable to the internet, yes.
Okay. It's criminals are a problem. They create, contradiction to the efforts that the world is trying to make in order to allow for ease of living. Because now I'm listening to Ms. Kashivena and she's telling me, avoid using public Wi-Fi. Yet the world is trying to move in a direction where we create accessibility to the internet and so on by providing as much public Wi-Fi as possible. Ms. Maresh.
I have a comment on that. So it's not, we're telling you not to use the free Wi-Fi because we want to spoil your fun. It's because nothing is free. There are strings attached to everything that's free.
So true.
The free mailbox that you have is being used because we can get access. We tick the I agree button, the terms and conditions. We said, it's okay. You can take my email and pull out of it things that we can use for marketing purposes. It's okay. You can sell my email address for money because we didn't read the T's and C's. So the freeness, and everybody loves something free, but nothing is free. Everybody needs to make a living. Exactly. So the social media platforms, the YouTube and so on, there's also not free because they advertise, and your likes and your preferences based on what the web videos you watch, that's how they position advertising messages because they've got to make money. Exactly. And they are transparent about it. They tell you when you accept the T's and C's. We don't read the T's and C's. Again, it comes back to yourself. Exactly. So there is no such thing as a free lunch. We're not saying don't use the internet. We're just saying don't use the free Wi-Fi. You can use the internet, pay with the data, and then you can use the internet. But the free Wi-Fi is risky because there can be malicious characters between points, and they can get access to information that they can then use. So the freeness, whenever it's free, a while ago there was this free face app. And everybody was posting pictures on Facebook with all these funny facial things. And why did that app want access to your contacts?
Yeah,
why did the app want access to your...
Exactly.
Ask yourself, these are the questions. When Grace, I think, said be vigilant, these are the things we must be vigilant about. Zero trust. Assume the worst. And there is no such thing as free.
Well,
add.
Yes, Mr. Jonas.
You realize that the hackers or the criminals on the cyberspace, they also know where there is free water to drink. So practically, that's the place to catch the praise. So they will go to those free Wi-Fis and they will get your data from those free Wi-Fis. Because remember, wealth has been on the oil, on the natural resources, the minerals. But in the future we are heading to now, the wealth or the new oil will be data.
Exactly.
Because every other service provider, cloud service provider, they want your data. There is no way you will subscribe to these platforms without providing any data. Now, what they do with that data is to actually to make money. Because imagine Google gives you the whole 15 gig for free. How do you think they are going to pay for the space times the billions of this whole world? Because everybody has the free space, plus those that pay a little bit to add to make it 200 gigs. So that data is what is generating their money.
Exactly.
So,
Just lastly, if it is too good to be true, then it probably is.
that's a good one.
Honestly. And also, please, can they make the T's and C's a font size bigger? I think that is also one of the things that really puts a person off to read these things. You know, it is very true that, you know, the quickest way you can kill somebody is by putting it in writing. Because human eyes, especially of late, we're very lazy to read. But this is how we end up selling ourselves, if I can call it that, by not reading. As you're saying, they are very open about it. They put it in their agreements, but we just don't want to read it. I think that's the best way I can put it right now.
Yeah,
because you've got the option to read it. You
Yeah.
just don't want to read it.
And you've got the option to refuse to the
exactly.
terms and conditions,
Exactly.
because it's not take it or leave it. You can say yes to it, and you can as well say no to it. Then if you say no, then they don't provide you the service, because what they need from you is the data and the freedom to use your data for other purposes at no cost to you, but obviously to a benefit that's only known to them.
Exactly.
Yes.
The awareness plan is an initiative where various stakeholders, I believe, are, you know, tapping into to try and ensure that we educate our public with regards to the various factors when it comes to cybersecurity and cybercrime. Now, we would like to just hear an overview from Salt Essential IT. Here's what they had to say.
Salt is a cloud service provider, and we are 24 years old. We sell and support technology, but our focus is people. We've moved over 250,000 people into the cloud over the last 2 years, enabling our customers to continue with their business operations during the lockdowns. Our customers are able to safely and productively work in the cloud because they have the systems and tools and trainings to ensure that their identities and data is not at risk. SALT is partnering with MICT in an effort to make the Namibian people aware and to arm them with the information they need to protect themselves. SALT is committed to invest in preparing the Namibian people to protect themselves and their families against cybercrime. MICT and SALT will be hosting virtual training sessions over a period of 8 weeks. Each week's session, hosted on Fridays from 10 to 11 a.m., will focus on different topics. In the first 4 sessions, we will cover creating awareness of threats and vulnerabilities on the internet, prevention and resilience to cybersecurity threats, managing cybersecurity attacks, incidents, as well as building resistance, immunity to cyber threats and attacks. In each of the 4 sessions, we cover the different forms and types of phishing attacks, prevention and resilience to phishing attacks, managing phishing attacks, incidents, as well as to build resistance, immunity to phishing, threats, and attacks.
Mr. Johannes, at this point we would like to hear from you. What is the purpose and the objectives? Can you just highlight that to us for the collaboration between MICT and Salt Essential IT?
Thank you very much, Desire. The collaboration between MICT and Salt Essential IT speaks to 2 pillars in the strategy. That's pillar 2, pillar 3. Pillar 3, which is awareness raising, and then pillar 4, which is national and international collaboration on cybersecurity. Now, our strategy also has part one, which is actual strategy that speaks about our efforts as far as cyber security or cybercrime is concerned. And then the second part is, as much as we said we need the laws, we need the infrastructure, we need to identify who does what, we also need to inform the people, the nation. So that's the second part of the audience, which is aimed at creating awareness through engagements, educations, and promoting cyber hygiene amongst the citizens. The citizens now are in groups. We have the school kids, we have the parents, we have all of us, the general public, but of course after work I'm a parent or a grandparent. So at work I'm an employee of the Minister of ICT. Vanessa is an employee of SALT, but we also focused on employees as a threat to organizations, because if you work at the critical position, for example, these hackers can target you to get entrance into the whole network. So eventually those were the core objectives, is to just engage the citizens, educate, make our efforts known to them, that we are not relaxed, we are doing something for the nation, we just need to join hands. Thank you.
Okay. I like the fact that, Mr. Johannes, you are talking about our multiple roles that we play in society, where between 8 and 5, you're an employee. You have a responsibility to yourself as an employee and to your employer to safeguard this information that you handle on a daily basis. Then after 5, you become a parent. There too, you have to protect yourself, because we are moving, as we said, we've already started, living in that space where we do use gadgets at home. We are constantly on these platforms. And with that, Ms. Kaushivena, I then want us to look at cybersecurity. Can you please state or point out what the public needs to be vigilant about whilst online, whether at home or in the public domain?
Firstly, making sure that you have software that is updated, whether at home or at the office. And if you're not sure if it's updated or not, just always consult your IT department or somebody that is more aware of software updates or antivirus updates.
Okay.
Secondly, don't fall for free antivirus. Maybe if you can't afford antivirus, rather switch on your Windows Defender. You need to switch it on, and then it will protect you against certain things or certain viruses. And lastly, any request that comes in that needs you to verify, always verify the legitimacy of it. Whether it's from a bank or an institution that you know of, just always verify. You have their number, or Google their number and call and verify this, whatever it is you're receiving, if it's legitimate or not.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Just to add on to
Yes, Mr. Jones.
one way to actually verify certain things, say like the example Grace gave of an email from the bank that says, click link X to update your details. You know very well the banks always, or even other institutions would say, we'll never request your information via an email or SMS. And then if you think, okay, fnb.com.na or standardbank.com.na, you might look at the spelling to be correct and precise as it is on their website. But then this criminal can just play with a simple letter, say at the .com, just change the O to a 0. And then it will still read the same if you are too fast in reading, and then you'll eventually think it's authentic, and then you are going to click and then provide your information. So such verification is very, very, very important. Other things that our private lifestyle, say at your own Wi-Fi's at home, it's always best to, on random times, change the password, because kids can, change your, share the password with a friend, with a neighbor, and then maybe the elder brother of the neighbor friend is a hacker, is busy doing something, so these kids might get into your network, and eventually, if there is nothing to get out of you or from your network, your home-based network, they could use yours to actually enter other networks or attempt to intrude other networks or cause malicious act like spread malwares and so we all under either MTC, telecom apparatus or anything, so they could get through you to telecom, to MTC or to apparatus and perform other malicious acts that can be regarded as a cybercrime.
Okay. Ms. Marej, we had Mr. Philemon now speak about some of these possibilities. Can you then just give us the importance of social media privacy settings?
All right, so it is quite important. I think I touched on it a little bit earlier. The idea is that when you buy, for example, when you buy a car, you buy it sort of stock standard.
Yeah.
It comes with 4 lights and 4 wheels and so on. And then if you want to get creative or you want to be different, you need to change. You want to pump it up. You want to change it. Now, it's sort of the same principle with your social media settings.
Okay.
When you sign up for the account, it's the stock standard settings. If you don't go in and change them, customize them to suit your requirements or your needs, then that's what you're going to have, and that's what you're going to be stuck with. We also address this in the training where we actually take people through all of the different social media platforms and show them where can you actually go and change those settings.
Okay.
So, for example, if I don't want people to follow me on Facebook, I can go and disable that. It's not, they don't force me. Facebook doesn't force you. I think you might have also noticed from some of the international news that the Meta group, which is Facebook, WhatsApp, and so on, they're not doing very well at this stage because international data privacy and protection regulations are really clamping down on them. So they have to comply and give you the option to change your settings so that it's more suitable for you. And again, it's not, and I believe in the beginning, especially in the beginning of social media, it was sort of a competition of who could have the most friends. But I think everybody really is over that now, and you really want to use it for social media. You don't necessarily just want to show your friends where you're going, but your acquaintances as well. You're going on holiday, be happy for me.
Exactly.
It's one of the benefits, the perks of having social media. So if we can just use it in a safe way, in a way that we're comfortable with, there is absolutely no problem with using it. But do go and review the settings. And also, something that people also forget about is go and look at your old posts that you have. Your old posts might contain, or your old photos you've got there, it might contain things that you thought at that time was awesome to put on there, and now when you're looking back at it 10 years down the line, it's like, no, maybe I shouldn't put that on. Maybe that shouldn't be there. What can it be used for? So review your history, review your settings on a regular basis. Make sure you've got your multi-factor authentication set up for all your social media platforms, all your accounts. It stops over 90% of cybercrime or cyber threats. So go for multi-factor. But yeah, the settings are super important as well.
Okay. Review your history. I think I need to do that. I'm definitely one of those that needed to be educated on some of these little details that we don't really pay attention to. Time has run out on us, but before we go with the last 2 minutes that we are left with, I'd like to ask from Mr. Johannes, how far are we? How far have we pushed with the campaign, and what are the lined up activities for the public? Just quickly give us a brief insight on that.
Okay, thank you very much. We, as a ministry, when we launched the campaign after following the approval of the strategy by cabinet, we started flexing our muscles by just providing this awareness campaign within the ministry, because we realize you can't start it outside when inside you have not actually done much.
Exactly.
We planned the 8 topics for awareness, and then we ran the 8 sessions on every Friday from 10 to 11, 1 hour, courtesy of Salt Essential. Vanessa was a very good teacher. And we ran practically 8 sessions within the ministry. And then we had 2 sessions with the Parliamentary Standing Committee on ICT and Innovation. And with them, we also pledged our support if they could extend our invitation to other committees. So we also create this awareness amongst all the parliamentarians in the both houses. And then what we did now, following those 2, we started engaging stakeholders such as other ministries, regional councils, SOEs, just extending our willingness to provide these services to them. So we started getting some responses. We are now just drafting our plan of action. Who confirmed and is willing to benefit from this session, and then setting the dates when are we actually going to see them, whether in person or otherwise on a virtual session. Virtual sessions will be very quick and easy to actually implement. The in-person session would have a bit of a cost implication, but we're not saying we are not going to be ready to plan and travel to those that are saying, please come to us. We want our staff members educated. Thank you.
Okay. I like the fact that there is a plan. We are making strides with the plan. So thank you very much for your efforts as key stakeholders within the ICT environment. I believe you're being proactive, and I think as an audience or a Namibian public member, I am very grateful. Thank you very much. With that said, myself, Desire Kahiha, and my production crew would like to thank our panelists for availing themselves to come and talk to us about this very important topic. And at this point, until tomorrow, bye-bye.